Welcome back to the Real with Joseph Labin. I am Joseph Labin. Hope you guys having a great Thursday afternoon. Or man, I messed up the day again. I'm looking at my notes for tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon. If you guys have watched my last three live, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired of it. I keep botching what day it is because I have my notes from previous shows and dates and everything. I gotta get a little more organized in my notes here. But anyways, welcome into the Real. Happy Wednesday to you guys. Hope you guys are having a great. Hope you guys are having a great day today. Shout out to Parent Johnny says, I don't know why people hating on him for chasing a record. Just the world we live in. I'm gonna get my thoughts on that here in a minute, but hope you guys are having a great day. The Browns are still making some signs, and they signed a tight end today. I think Jake Stoll's his name. He's a more blocking tight end, but it's kind of what they needed. So they got a tight end too, 28 years old, so that's good. We'll keep you updated with the Browns. Go watch Mike and I's show last night over on the Professional Fan, as we broke that down and all the things Browns free agency and what's to come. So go check that out. But also last night, as we were live, I got an alert. I said, Mike, I just saw some breaking news. It said Bam Adebayo, the Miami Heat center, scored 83 points. And I was like, oh, really? He broke Kobe Bryant's record, huh? Bam Adebayo. Not the name I expected to hear to break Kobe's record at all. And I'm like, this is the guy that scored 83 points. Really good. Yeah, a very good player. He's not a bad player by any means. He's an all-star kind of player at some years. But I'm like, this is the guy that broke 83 points. So I go and watch the highlights of the game. And I'll be honest with you guys, I watched the highlights and I'm just like, I don't know about this. Like, I just can't get on board. And I respect people's opinion, like Perrin Johnson, but I'm like, man, I don't agree with how it went. I don't think that's why I have the thing, the gold standard / the gold, put the fiat standard, because I feel like that's what last night represented. And I feel like last night was a bigger picture of kind of just where we are in society in a lot of ways. And I know it's a lot. You're probably the society in a basketball game. What are you talking about? Well, I'm going to break it down for you. But in terms of the game itself, number one, I would say here, I think Bam Adebayo seems like a nice, great guy. Nice guy. You know, his mom there last night, him and his mom had an emotional moment. That was pretty cool. Now, the stuff after getting him and AJ Wilson up there in the post game press conference, and Pat, or was it not Pat? Really, Eric Spoelstra's up there. Talking about what a great night this was, historic night and everything, and blah blah blah. And I just, when you watch the game, 43 free throw attempts. Number one, this is a guy that attempts 4 free throws a game. 43 free throw attempts. Whoever the referees were last night shouldn't be refereeing a game ever again. I don't know any way this guy gets 43 free throw attempts. But anyways, 22 3-point attempts on 43 shots. So he shot a total of damn near 86 point attempts last night. 86 point attempts. Free throws and field goals included. He finished the game at 83 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, right? But it's not, again, you look at the box score and say, man, this guy scored 83 points. He broke Kobe's record. Oh my gosh. But when you go and watch the game, you're like, no, man, this is some fugazi bullshit. And that's what it was. I think it was a bunch of bullshit. That's why I put the gold standard / the fiat standard. What does that mean? Well, the gold standard, speaking of currency, right? The gold standard for many years was a monetary system that ties a currency's value directly to a specific quantity of gold, ensuring fixed exchange rates and limiting money supply. It also refers idiomatically to the highest, most reliable, best in class example of something, right? And eventually it was switched to the fiat currency. Now the fiat currency, right? So the gold standard is the gold standard. It's the best in class. It's backed by something, right? It has weight. It has a foundation. The fiat standard is a current global monetary system where money is not backed by a physical commodity like gold, but by government decree, trust, and widespread acceptance as a legal tender. It relies on central bank management of the money supply, allowing for flexible economic policy, but risking inflation. And last night was pure inflation on the basketball court. Pure inflation on the basketball court. And that's what I think it is. I think it's that's the kind of it was inflated last night. 43 free throw attempts. And here's where it got really bad. They're up by 25 points, right? Mind you, they're going against the worst team in the league in the Washington Wizards. A terrible team. They're up by 25 points. He's at like 77 points, I think, which is still a big margin from 83. And you're up by 25. They put him back in the game. He shoots 3 straight threes, misses all 3. And then his teammates start fouling the Wizards to stop the clock and get more possessions. And I'm like, are we serious? When Kobe Bryant scored 81 points, it was the gold standard. They were down 17 points, I think, at one point in the third quarter of that game against Toronto in 2006. And he went off for 81 points. And it wasn't just free throws. It was pivot, jump shots, spin back. Like, it was pure skill basketball. It was greatness. Last night was inflation, right? The central bank management, that was the referees giving him all the fouls and his teammates helping him out. And I just think, was this a good or bad night for sports? I think it's a bad night because it sets a bad precedent. And that's why when you listen to all these other coaches, you heard Ime Udoka, you heard, I even saw Kristaps Porzingis. You heard a lot of these other NBA players and coaches react to it last night. They weren't very happy about it. They weren't very thrilled because they saw how it went about. When they saw the 43 free throw attempts and you go and watch the game and how it played out at the end of the game, you're like, man, this wasn't legit. This is phony. Like, this was inflation. It was inflated numbers. It was a bought and paid for 83. And it's not the gold standard. It's not what sports is. Sports are supposed to be earning something. You're right. It's like, Kobe Bryant at one time when he played the Dallas Mavericks could have won. I think he had like 71 points, I believe. Or no, I think he had 60 something points. He could have went for 70. Right. And Brian Shaw told the story. This is via Fearless today. Told the story of what Kobe Bryant said, right, when he was asked by Phil Jackson to go back into the game. Here's what Kobe told his team, his teammate Brian Shaw, why he didn't want to go back in the game.
We're playing the Dallas Mavericks. I can't even remember what year it was now, but at the end of the third quarter, Kobe had 62 and the Dallas Mavericks had 61. And we were up, I think, 30 or 33 points, something like that. And it was a timeout. And it was in between the third and fourth quarter. And Phil Jackson asked me to go ask Kobe if he wanted to start out the fourth quarter and see if he, to try and get 70 points. And so I walked over out of the coach's huddle and asked him. And he looked up at the scoreboard and we were up, like I said, 30 or whatever. And he said, nah, I'll get it another time, when we really need it. So I got kind of pissed off. I was like, look, man, not too many people can say that they scored 70 points against another team. You got a chance to score 70. Man, you got to play. He was like, he looked at the scoreboard again. Nah, we're up 30. We don't need it right now. So I'll do it another time. So I went back over the field. I said he doesn't want to go back in. Well, about 3 or 4 weeks later, we're playing Toronto in LA. And they're beating us for the majority of the game. And you just see the points piling up. And, when it's all said and done, he scores 81 points.
Oh, sorry. And the man scored 81 points the week after, or shortly after. But you can see the difference in the mindset of the player. He didn't want to go out there. Don't just give it to me. Right? Yeah, he could have easily went out there against that team. And that was a Dallas Mavericks team that was an NBA contender that year. Remember, they went into the NBA Finals against the Miami Heat that year in 06 and lost in 6 games. They were up 2-0. And there was some controversy with the refereeing, but, Miami came back and won it. But, he did it against a legit team. When he played against the Toronto Raptors, scored 81, they were down in that game. But again, you see the difference in the mindset. That was the gold standard of an athlete. The mindset on and off the court, right? And how he approached the game and everything. This last night, you know, I mean, I could shout out my guy Paradrate. He said, "Well, blame the bums on the Wizards for allowing this to happen." But here's my thing though with that is it's here if he would have went out there in the first quarter, like the first quarter he had, right? He had a great first quarter. And he went out, I think he scored 25 in the first quarter. If he would have finished the game with 43 points and, you know, 9 boards and whatever, and they still would have won by 20, I'd have been like, yeah, hey, he had a big night. But it's because here's the difference, though. I can't blame the Wizards because when your team is purposely fouling the team that's the worst team in the NBA down 25 points to give this guy more opportunities to try to score, and you're purposely feeding him the ball up 25 against the worst team in the league at home. And then also you're on the bench when you're up 25, you get put back in the game and you shoot 3 straight threes. Yeah, I got a problem with that. So, that's not real. Like that's not reality. That's, hey Bam, you want to break the record? We'll help you break. We'll give you the record. It was given to him last night. It was inflation. It wasn't real. Like that's not reality what I saw last night. Um and that's the difference. The Wizards are bones to begin with because they're a terrible team. So I can't blame that because they're just bad to begin with. Miami should have won the game, which they did, but the way they went about it, what happened in the game, to me is a bad standard for sports. It's not the gold standard. It's the fiat standard, like I put there, because it's inflated. It's fake. It's not real. And it's like in sports nowadays, everybody, you have a problem, just hit the transfer portal, right? And this is what the Miami Heat have kind of been. They've always been viewed as like the great culture, the Heat culture, Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, who I respect. I think they're great coaches. Obviously, Pat Riley's an all-time great. I think Eric Spoelstra's always been a really good coach, right? But you kind of look at their history a little bit even too. This is the team that allowed this to happen. Pat Riley allowed this on his watch. The Laker great who just got the statue put up at the arena. He allowed this to happen. He allowed this. He allowed it. He allowed someone to break Kobe Bryant's record in his uniform in this fashion. But then you go back, you look though. People look at the 06 series and the referee. You're going, I don't know about that. And then you go back to the 2010. They had the 4 and the big 3. It was the first time where like free agents really came together and collided on a team, and it really was a new era of this player empowerment movement that I think really hasn't been good for sports in the long run, and has created a lot of this NIL and this chaos that we see now in college sports, even. Right, and then they win 2 championships out of that. And then when they won the first championship, they had to get Shaq. Had to go get Shaq off the street and sign him in there, which is fine. It's their right. But I'm just saying, they've always held themselves to like this high standard. They're the Heat culture and everything, but you kind of look at some of the history a little bit, and then this last night, it's like, I don't know. You didn't expect them to do that, but yeah, I don't know. If the game was closer and a tighter game, and he scored this, would it be fine then? I think if he went about it in a legit way, if his teammates weren't out there purposely fouling the Wizards to help him score more points, and maybe like Kobe Bryant when he scored 81, they were down. They were down. Was it 17 points? I think in the third quarter against the Raptors. He had to basically will them back in to win the game. That was a legit way. And I don't think Kobe shot. I got to look at Kobe's box score. How many free throws he shot that game? But it wasn't. They didn't. His teammates weren't out there purposely fouling the other team when they're up 25. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. Usually, you only foul when you're down in the game. But I think it's a bad night because I think it's a set. And I don't even think last night. I think it's not even like it set a new standard. It's just this is what the standard has been in sports. And I've seen it. I'm involved in this stuff at the high school level, even with guys who are big time players. And you see this mindset trickling down into that level now. You see it all in college sports. And I know I've had guys on the show who are college sports. Um, you know, it's complete chaos. The player empowerment movement hit the portal. It's the path to least resistance. Well, I want everything just given to me. And I think it's a bigger thing of what society's becoming. I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but again, I just think it was not a good night. I think it was, congrats to Bam, I guess, but you know, and I'm not. I think Bam's a nice guy. I thought the moment with his mom was pretty cool, but I just, it just wasn't real to me. Like I just don't think it was a good thing. I think it's a bad precedent what the NBA has become. And I think if this is the standard now, where we're going to go out there up 25 points, put your best player back in the game against the worst team in the league, and let him just jack a lot records. And then he missed three straight threes. So now we're going to start fouling to give it some. We're going to make sure he breaks this record against the worst team in the league, who were probably not even playing that hard when you watch the. I mean, they're already a shitty team, and then when they're down, they know when they're losing, they know they're going to lose because they're a bad team. It's not like they were trying to claw back in the game. They're just trying to get out of their healthy. They're in a rebuilding stage. They're purposely tanking in Washington. So you all that against a tanking team at home. I just think it's a bad. It's just not. This guy's name's up there now with Wilt Chamberlain and Kobe Bryant. Are you kidding me? I just don't think it's. I don't agree. I think it was a bad. It's the way they went about it and how they did it, and but again, I'm gonna get to the bigger picture. Why it's this is the new standard now, not just sports, but in general in society, this is what it is. So I'm gonna get to that more here in a second. But shout out to my guy Tune In Sports Cavaliers Talk says salute. Teflon Don, good to see you. Browns are pure cheeks. Get ready to see 3 wins. Not Katie, Curry, or LeBron, but Bam got 83. That's crazy. But congrats to him, even though people hate how he got it. Yeah. And it's the Wizards. They need to be replaced. Yeah, the worst team in basketball. Of course, Kobe's performance was better than Bam, and he was down, but congrats to both. Donovan 71 was better than Bam. Um, Nobody scoring that much in today's game doesn't short if that doesn't happen a short amount of time in today's game. Um, let's see here. But yeah, I mean that's my take on it. I don't think it was a good thing last night. I think it was, again, the first quarter he was out there balling. Guy got on great rhythm. First half he was great, but the way they went about it in the second half to try to it was inflation. It was trying to basically we're going to try to rig it for you to get 83 points. We're going to foul the other team up 25, and we're going to make sure you get all the shots when you don't need to. And it's disrespect to the game. Like when Kobe Bryant was up against the Dallas Mavericks, you heard what B. Shaw said. He didn't go out there and try to get 70 and just rub it in everybody's face and just look at me. No, it was I'll get it next week. I'll get it another time. And he ended up, guess what? Instead of 71, he got 81 because that's just the confidence he had in himself, but also it the game will reward you, and I think part of that is respecting the game and putting in the work and you know honoring those who came before you, and going about it in a legit way. There's just no standards nowadays, and that's what I think last night was. It was a low standard, and that's why I don't think it was that big of a. I think it was a bad night. Joining me now is the man himself, straight out of Elyria, Ohio. Always keeping it real. The humble man. Humble's here. Humble, what's happening?
Hey, man. It's good to be back.
Humble, I appreciate you waiting, brother. I didn't mean to go on that long of a rant, but had a lot to get off my chest. But
Yeah, man.
your thoughts on Bam Adebayo's 83-point night that I called the not the gold standard, it's the fiat standard.
No, yeah. There's a lot to dissect here, man. I think there's younger generation and the older generation, and you got guys in the middle like us trying to you know, there's a lot of feelings and things to dissect. I say Kobe fans are pissed, and I think they rightfully should be. I mean, I know I am. With Bam, I mean, he's an 18.9 point per game scorer, right? Um,
Four free throw attempts a game.
right. Right. I mean, show me another 60 point per night. Give me a 55 in the playoffs. But no, again, it's against the Wizards, right? At the end of the day, I feel as if this is a classless act at the end of the day, because when think about it in high school terms, if you're up, what? You're blowing out the team, Joe. those guys that usually don't get to see the field or get any PT, they're gonna get some PT. They're gonna get some play time because I mean we're up. It's blown out. Why aren't they getting minutes? Right? You got those guys. They haven't broke a sweat. They're just sitting on the bench waiting their turn. And I know that's how my coach did it. Hey, we're already up. Let the guy that never gets playtime get some playtime because it makes the team go crazy. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I was pissed when Bam had 77. I'll be honest with you, I was pissed. Um, because why would you be in the game when you're already winning? You had a significant lead. You're up by 25 in the fourth. About 3 minutes left. You know what I mean? Back then, Kobe had the right to do this because I mean, Joe, let's look at this roster, right? His point guard,
Mitch
Shamush
Parker.
Parker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
Kobe
weren't
Bryant.
the Lakers weren't a very good team. They were some people didn't they were a borderline playoff team.
And you could argue, I mean, Chris Bosh was on that team. You got Matt Bonner, same class as LeBron, Jalen Rose, pretty decent. I mean, that's a pretty Morris Peterson. That's a decent team at the time. But with that being said, Kobe was an all-time scorer. He had those times. He could keep his team in the game, and he had that. He had the keys. You know, everyone knew that. Back then, you only had one star. If you're lucky, you had two. You know what I'm saying? That was the LeBron James era, the Dwight Howard era. You had Dwayne Wade by himself. You know, old man Shaq, whatever. Yeah, that's two stars, right? But it wasn't. We did Carmelo Anthony by himself, right? Maybe in Denver or New York. It was a different time. Now you have Tyler Hero, Bam. You got, you know what I mean? You don't need to necessarily score this much points, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people, are forgetting that.
When he's playing against the Wizards at home,
Right.
like you're playing against the worst team in the league at home. You guys are going to win just off of pure execution and just because you're better coached. He's probably the best player out there last night.
More physical. They
Yeah,
have depth too. I mean,
yeah, they
and
got
they're
guys.
veterans.
Yeah, they
And
can go
Bacon's
out
been to a
there.
finals.
Exactly. But it's like, and here maybe, and I get what Parent John's saying here. Like he said, and I've shot my guy Parent John. He said I saw a clip of every foul the Wizards did. It was a foul, not going to lie. He shouldn't have been playing the four. Let's just say that, and that's my biggest issue, Parent John. And we can go back and look at the fouls. I'm sure there was probably some ticky tack foul. That's what the NBA is, though. You can look at that every night. But the fact of what they did when they were up 25, Humble, and they went out there to purposely try to break that record, and the way they went about it was, you said it. It was completely classless.
Yeah.
It's a complete slap in the face to them, to the game, to the guys, to the people that paved the way before these guys. It was a complete dumpster fire, and for this guy to be flaunting around, I'm the new second greatest or second most all time points. I broke Kobe's record and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I just think it's an absolute disgrace.
It is. It is. And it go back to my point saying, I mean, when you were blowing teams out on the football, I mean, you weren't seeing the field every play. You didn't need to. You had to keep your body intact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Kobe was the type of player where it was like his shot making ability kept them in the game. And that's the difference. Bam doesn't have these games we can look at and be like, okay, I'm not surprised he went off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if he would have
Kobe,
had 43 points because he had a big first quarter,
yeah.
if you'd had I saw LeBron in Cleveland his last year in Miami in person. He dropped 25 in the first quarter. He finished the game with 43.
Right.
Right, that's a legit. You're like, oh man, I got a huge night. If he would have had 43 points last night, I'd have been like, or even 50. I'd have been like, hey man, he had a big night against a bad team at home. They gave him a lot of shots, but the way they went about it and purposely feeding him and trying to make him break the record, basically, let's go for 60. Because the first record they were trying to break was LeBron's record in the Miami Heat uniform. It was, I think it was 61.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember watching it that night back in 14. So they were trying to break that record, and they were up then. Then they break that record. Let's go for 70. So now we're going to try to go for 70. And then it's, let's just go break Kobe's record. We're up 25, and let's start fouling. and like we're down 5 with a minute left. We got a foul. It's just the way they went about it. But you made a good point about high school, and I got a story too. Like, the school I'm at, around the program I'm around in the fall, premier program in Ohio, right? I mean, 5 state championships in the last 10 years. D1 guys all over the place. Number one player here, number one corner this past year with the USC. I mean, they got guys everywhere. They got a guy who's a sophomore going to be a junior next year, state champion wrestler, you name it. I remember last year we were at a game, right? And this dude was a beast. I mean, this dude is a beast. Not is, or was. He is a beast. We're playing against a lesser opponent. He goes out there that night humble. I think he had like 4 or 5 sacks in the game.
Right.
The record, I think, was 5 or 6. Right. And I remember he's sitting there in the fourth quarter. I'm standing off to the side because, I go down there. I got my media pass, and I go down there, and I'm standing next to him. We're talking, and he's like, man, I want to go back out there, break the record. But coach is like, nah. So they had the younger guys out there. But they were up. And mind you, they're in a hunt. They got the playoffs coming up, or in the playoffs. I can't remember. They got to let the young guys get some run. They got to
It's got to develop at some point. Yeah.
And protect him.
Right.
Because all it takes is one play.
That's
and that could happen during the game, but when you can control it, you can control it as a coach. You're smart enough. And I think the coach also was trying to set the standard to the kid too. He's a great coach, legendary coach. Is like, hey man, I want you to go out. You're gonna, and we all told him like, you're gonna break that record one day, but it's gonna be in a big game. It's gonna be in a real way. And he understood that. He didn't take it personal. He went out there and next week did the same thing. He's about to go win maybe another states right now in wrestling back to back. The coach was setting the right standard and the right message. And that's why they've had the success they've had. And the player understood, but that's at that level. You know what I mean? And so it does still exist. I've seen it like that story, but that coach had a respect for the game and wanted to send a message to his player. Kind of like what Brian Shaw said. Kobe said to him, right? Brian Shaw could have been put in the game, and he was pissed that Kobe didn't want him to go in the game, or that Brian Shaw could have went in the game. And he was pissed Kobe didn't want to go back in the game, so he couldn't play. You know what I mean? It's like it's just a different standard, different mindset. You know what I mean? It's like and you had Michael Jordan years ago went on. I think it was Oprah Winfrey show. Yeah, it was Oprah Winfrey show, and I saw this. He was on there with Charles Barkley. And this is what Michael Jordan said about their era. And I'm not comparing eras today because I do think there are some guys today that are great athletes and respect the game and are good dudes. You know what I mean? So I'm not one of these era people, like all that stuff. Do I think there's differences in the era now with the rules and stuff? Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think stuff like last night is setting the bad standard for these guys in high school and college for where they think this stuff's acceptable. You know what I mean? That's not good. We're not setting a good example for them. And some of the guys already in the league. But here's what Michael Jordan said back in 2005, Humble.
You look back in our era, Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnsons, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, we earned what we got. When the corporate America came to us, we had a game that could validate their admiration
and sponsorship and all that,
Now they get that before they play one game. So in essence, you're paying the kid off of potential that he may be great.
You don't think that's good?
No, because I think it sets bad work ethic. When you get something so easily, you're not going to work as hard.
And that's what he's saying. It's a bad standard, and you have to earn what you get, and that's in life. If you put out this president now, and these younger athletes now, they see this like, hey man, if imagine Mike, Humble, imagine how many people. Youth basketball players right now at 13. I'm sure there's some out there today. Just like when they saw Steph Curry pull from the logo. So what do? They want to go out there and start shooting from the logo.
Yeah.
Right. 100%. But now if a kid has a great game, let's say he's maybe a kid has a hot game. He's having like 30 something points. Right. He's got 32 points and they got 5 minutes left in the game. Their team's up by 20 and AAU basketball or whatever. And what was he going to say? Coach, I want to go for 40. They're going to start fouling the other team now. Is this what we're going to show kids is acceptable? Hey, just foul the other team. Keep your best player in the game. Don't play the other kids that don't get a lot of playing time, even though it's not that serious. It's youth sports, right? This is the standard now. And I'm telling you, you're going to see that possibly one time, right? Or some kids going to start cherry picking points down the court. You know what I mean? And it's just not a good standard. it's not the gold standard anymore. It's the fiat standard.
I agree, man. And it's just Pat Stetton at the end of the day, man. And these players know what they're doing. And fans understand it's the modern day era and all that stuff, what have you. But I mean, 20 for 43 at the end of the day, man. You're just chucking up shots, man.
You know what
42 minutes.
I got Kobe's stat line from 81. You ready to hear this?
Yeah.
So hold on, let me break this down for you. So Kobe Bryant, right? 28 of 46. He only shot 46 shots compared to 83 attempted points from Bam last night. All right, 46 shots was 20 for 60%, so he was hitting them. And he's a shooting guard, by the way. 7 of 13 from 3. Only shot 13 threes. He was 18 of 20 from the free throw line. He shot only 20 free throws. He shot under half of what Bam shot and half the shot and less threes. It was a lot more efficient. And when his team was also down in the game. And he played 42 minutes. And he also had 3 steals, 1 block, 2 assists, 6 rebounds.
One of the best, man.
They were down humble in the third quarter. They trailed by 18 points in the third quarter. He had 55 of his 81 in the second half. With the team that he had around him that didn't have any other real scorers. They were all just role players. You know what I mean? So he had to. I mean, he was putting up mega, and he was putting up mega points that year, that whole season. That was the post Shaq, pre Pau Gasol era.
Steve Nash, all those guys.
Yeah, and he was putting up mega. You go look at Kobe's stat line that year. He was putting up crazy numbers. And big games.
And a lot of people will argue those Steve Nash back-to-back MVPs belong to Kobe Bryant.
Right.
Right. And at least one of them do. I will say that.
Before, if you and I talked last night for the game home, we say, hey, the Miami Heat play the Wizards tonight. Who you picking? We probably both pick Miami at home, right? Because the Wizards. Sure. Now we had both say, hey, Bam's got to have 83 points to beat them, or 50 plus even to beat them. No. Would have been like if Bam has like 25 and 15, they'll probably win.
Right.
But at the show, like last night was not. People could say it's hate, but I don't get caught up in hate or error. I just try to live in reality. And what I saw last night, and I know you said this, it just was not reality.
Yeah.
That wasn't real. But I got a different well, actually, do you have any last thoughts on the game itself before I expand the conversation then?
Well, not really. I think we said pretty much everything. If anything, I would just if I was Adam Silver, I'd look at this and maybe investigate it. I don't know. A lot of people are saying that. And it was just he'll probably, a lot of people are saying this as well, Joe. Next game he'll probably just drop 17. You know what I mean?
He'd come out next game and drop 8 points and 10 rebounds, and I'd be like, I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised. Like that's who you are, right? And it's like it's a disappointing. A lot. That's what it is. Bam doesn't have these point per game stats.
I'm not trying to hate on Bam personally. This isn't personal on Bam. I think Bam might be a really nice guy. I loved seeing his mom there last night. That was great. But it's just I can't sit back and just not say what I really feel about it, and that why I don't think it's a good thing for what a lot of reasons what we're pointing out, especially for youth sports. It's for high schoolers and collegiate guys. It's just not a good standard.
It's not.
It's not a good standard. It's not. And you said it's classless, and it's just not. It's set in a low bar of what excellence really is, not just in sports, but in life. But and I got to give shout out to my man Jason Willock again on his show today. Right after he played that clip of B. Shaw breaking down the Kobe story, right? He went back to giving his thoughts, and he said something here, Humble, that we've talked a lot more recently about. We started the shows with more sports, and we carried on into more real life topics. Well, today it's kind of all in one. Here's more of a bigger picture now. Why I think last night, he explains it right here. Why last night's game, Humble, was kind of like a example of kind of what society has become too. Mm-hmm. And the mindset people have now, a lot of people. So we've talked about some of these things recently about comparison, right? And how losing sight of who you are and chasing the wrong things. And here's what Jason said.
A huge culture shift. We don't have guys like Kobe Bryant that have respect for history, have respect for the people that came before them. We we have a culture that's, hey, what's in it for me? I don't care how I get it. As long as I make money, I don't care if it's OnlyFans, if it's rapping about degenerate stuff and grooming kids into a degenerate mindset. Hey, if I make money, it's all good. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how I make it. It doesn't how I achieve anything. There's no standards.
And that's what he's saying. What I'm saying is there's no standard anymore, Humble. And he hit the nail right on the head right there, in my opinion. There's no standard. And you look at society in general now. We've been talking about this. Whether if you want to, if your goal is getting wealth, or I have to be married, or I have to get this job, or X, Y, and Z. Social media now, TikTok especially, and all these, we're all in the music, everything like you just pointed out there. We're all so convinced now that, hey, as long as I get it, that's all that matters. No matter how I go about it, I have it, and then I can go on social media and flaunt it around like it's real and legit.
Right.
I've seen a lot of things in real life, Humble, where they get married, or I hate to say it, and at that point I'm not calling anybody's names, not trying to start some, but where people have got married, where you hear how they went about it though, and that person, it wasn't legit, and that's all I'm gonna say. You guys probably know what I'm talking about in terms of what a certain situation, what it was, or people that went and tamed. Yeah, they got a ton of money, but you look at how they got the money, and you're kind of like, yeah, they do a lot of illegal things. Like, there's a lot of these guys that they're involved in this pyramid schemes and all this stuff. You know what I mean? But they go online and they're all yoked, and hey, look at me, and I make all this money working from home and blah blah blah. But you look at how they really get it, it's not legit, right? It's not real. It's the fiat standard. It's not the gold standard. It's not. You're not Kobe Bryant. You're Bam Adebayo. So, and I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. Like. But I think it's a bigger picture, Humble. Last night really is kind of what society's become. Everybody's nobody has standards anymore. Nobody's willing to wait things out and ride things out for something greater. Nobody's willing to build anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the Miami Heat, they didn't build any championship team. They bought a championship team, and that's the franchise that did this last night. They went in and acquired Shaquille O'Neal, and they won an NBA championship, where people said the refs got involved in that series. They go out and they completely just break the the standards of the NBA. Let's bring in Chris Bosh and LeBron James and pair him with Dwayne Wade, the big three in the decision, and let's go out and get 2 championships. Hey, last night, let's go out and do what we did and go out and force this guy and basically buy this guy 83 points to break the record. Where guys like Michael Jordan, they went to Chicago and they built championship teams from the ground up. They stayed with their franchise and built something. Isaiah Thomas went to Detroit and built the Bad Boys. Magic Johnson, Bird, the Lakers, the Celtics were already a great franchise, but they built it back to a higher standard. Those were the guys, that's the teams they got drafted to. Like, Steph Curry went to the Golden State Warriors, built it into what it became.
Yeah.
Like, that means Paul Pierce went to the Celtics, built it into what it became. And yes,
Greg
they
Popovich.
Exactly, Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, people point to the Celtics. Well, they started a super team and everything, but it's like, no, they traded for Ray Allen. And I think they traded for Kevin McHale. So, or maybe did they sign Ray Allen? I think they traded for Ray Allen. But both players are older in their career. They weren't 25-year-old prime players like LeBron and Bosh.
Right? No, yeah.
You know what I mean? They were older. They had been in their franchises for a while.
They were losing some of their stuff, but they were still they could produce.
They
needed someone to lean on.
And Boston had to do something because Paul Pierce was going to leave, and they knew it.
Yeah.
So, but he stayed and built something. But Paul Pierce bleeds green. That guy loves it. So he's not a guy that wanted to jump ship. He was just getting to the point where it's like, man, you guys got to build a better team around me, because this is like, I'm a great player, but we got nothing, So, but again, all those guys built something. Tom Brady and Belichick, they built New England to what it became. And look, that's just sports. But look, who wants to build anything nowadays, Humble?
You can even go back to Giannis too. Giannis wants out. He can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
He wants the limelight, spotlight. I can't. I want to win.
I think with him, he did fulfill his obligation already. But
sure, yeah.
I get it. Would I rather him stay there and rebuild? Yeah. But you get what I'm saying, though, in general, like,
of course,
you look at just the different standard, and just in general in life, nobody wants to build anything anymore. Nobody wants to sacrifice, because that's the word, sacrifice. That's the one thing people can't do anymore. They don't want to sacrifice what it is to become truly great, to be the gold standard. Everybody wants to go the fiat route and inflate everything, or like Jason pointed out there, I'll go about it any way I can. Whether it's married, I need to be married, or I need to have a rich guy or a rich girl or a nice looking girl, or in that area, or I got to have this job and this position, this amount of money, wealth. I got to have this amount of this. I got to be an influencer now, all this fake stuff, and I got to have X amount of followers. People will go about it because they're trying to any way possible, because they feel like they need to. They're falling into the secular pressure of society, and B, it's all just for their own. It's all about I. It's like Jason said. You hear what he said. He said I. It's not about others. It's not about. It's not about giving. It's not about building. It's all about what can I do for myself first, me first, and thirdly, I can go on and be applauded on social media and like I'm some philanthropist or some great person, when really the way you went about it is not legit. So I'm just trying to set the tone here for this part of the conversation, but I don't mean the ramble. Go ahead, Humble.
No, you're good, man. We can go on to the next one. I was just agreeing with everything. That was good, man.
Well, no, this is our last. But your thoughts here, though, on just the bigger picture of life of what.
Oh yeah.
Do you agree with like what Jason said? What I'm saying? How last night really was not just about sports, but I think it's just a bigger picture of what life and how people are now, what the standards are in society.
No, yeah, that's a good point. Was even I don't want to like go into it that deep, but I was just watching a prison documentary last night. This guy was doing time. He's 60 years old, but he was even saying back in the day that these prison systems aren't the same either. They changed it. It's more wilder and crazier. They said the old guy, he literally said it was basically like a college campus when I first got there, and you knew who you knew, and you stayed out of the way, and if you did something bad, you get messed with, and it's I agree in some respects how like it's just crazy how things have changed, and even like hell, I just add a story. I remember I went to see a girl. This was when I was a little bit younger, and her little brother was saying like I don't like the way you're that I don't know. It was basically commented how I was dressed or whatever, and I'm like, I've never heard that. You know what I mean? And basically, I'm just thinking, man. This kid, he must be playing so much GTA, because it's like you can't customize what you see. You get what you get, man. And I think a lot of these people, they see stuff on social media. They feel as if they can replicate it because, you see it. They're like, oh, well, how hard can it be? And you get into these, you get into reading these crazy stories. I know I have. But
yeah, it's like this virtual reality.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah,
that's what last night was. It was a virtual reality. It was 2K
on a random
in
Tuesday.
real life.
Yeah.
It literally was 2K in real life. Like you see these guys on YouTube, the 2K YouTubers, they got to do a challenge where they have to score 100 points in a game or 80 points with a player.
Right.
So they'll be in there fouling and stuff because they got to you're trying to rig it so you get 80 points because that's the challenge.
They turned the fatigued off. If we're talking 2K, he turned fatigue off.
Turn the fatigue off. Turn up the sliders on the shots. Basically playing magnet ball. You know what I mean?
He didn't have the Gatorade symbol by his feet. He was fine.
No,
he was good.
He was fresh all 48 minutes. He was fresh. Only guy ever in history.
Right.
And shot 100 shots. But but that's what you're right. That's it's like virtual reality everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's, and not just last night was like a virtual reality, but just in life, everybody's trying to live to this virtual reality.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's not real. You know what I mean? It's not reality. It's just not, and it's really, you and I have said it recently, it's really designed to not help us, to actually lead us in the wrong direction. And that's unfortunately a lot of people are heading. And here, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. None of us are perfect. We've all fallen short. We've all sinned and fallen short. Right. But I think true repentance, true humility and honor is just realizing your faults and what you're good and not good at, what you need help in, and realizing that, focus on God's plan first through the God first lens. And if you're not somebody who believes in God, having some dignity in life. Like, it's better to take the narrow road than the broad road, you know, because it's like the Bible. The narrow road leads to the broad road leads to destruction, where the narrow road leads to eternal life, right? But it's like a example of life. Even like, it's much better to go through the struggle and the grind and to make it to the top, knowing that you earned what you got. You made it. You know what I mean? You built your way there. You grew as a person. How do you ever grow as a person if you don't face conflict, if everything's just handed to you so easily? How do you grow as a player? How do you grow as a person? You don't. You know, how do you become great? How do you do something that impacts other people? How do you help yourself? How do you build your own self-esteem? Even you got to go through that stuff. You can't avoid the unavoidable. But a lot of people nowadays, they want to eliminate the unavoidable and insert themselves through any way to getting what they feel like they need or have to obtain. And I just think it's like he's nailed right on the head, man. That's a great point. It's a virtual reality we're living. that it's like we're living it now.
He got all the VC and turned his player 99 overall somehow. You know?
Boy, man, he turned the VC up, no fatigue. Like I said, he turned on the magnet ball. He turned off the coach's substitutions, no timeouts. You know, you turn off the auto timeouts. You turn to manual. You know, he did all that last night. He even made this guy a little bit taller. You know, he gave him the Steph Curry shooting percentage rating. That's what last night was.
You're right, though. You hit the nail on the coffin, man.
And if there was I got to go look at all the fouls, but I mean, 43 free throw attempts.
I mean, what are we hack-a-shacking here?
Are you kidding? I mean, are you kidding me? And I don't even know. I got to look at how many fouls.
I can't.
Who was? And there was 2 Wizards players that had 5 personal fouls.
Right.
Okay, so no, but you would think of 43 free attempts, somebody fouled out, right?
Yeah, right.
They didn't foul out at all.
You got 2 guys with 5 personal fouls.
They had 34 fouls to 22. Like, it wasn't like Miami's the percent led throughout the game for Miami Humble was 95%. They led 95% of the game. So basically, after the first 6 minutes and teams warmed up, Miami just basically won the game.
Right.
I mean, and the Wizards shot less. It still shot better from 3 than they did.
Well, I'm not surprised at how many shots they put up.
But it's just, I mean, it's just,
it's disappointing, man.
We'd say it was a bad night for sport. And again, no hating on Bam. I just think Bam's probably a really good dude. You know what I mean? I don't know the man personally, and I thought it was cool seeing him and his mom last night. He's an NBA player. He earned that. And it's in all seriousness. I'm not trying to, hey, the guy's an NBA player. He's a pretty good one, But I just don't like the way they went about it last night. I think it's a bad standard you're setting, not only in the sport, but also just, to the collegiates, high schoolers, younger kids. I think it's just not a good thing the NBA should be promoting. Yeah. And I think it's an example, like we pointed out, of just kind of how society is now too. So,
and I will say too, though, Joe, I feel as if this wouldn't be as crazy as if this Wizards team wasn't a 16-48 team record, or if, let's just say, if Bam was fighting to get his way, if this was a game where it was Wizards or Miami to get into the playoffs, okay, that's history, right? That's 2 on top of 1. But it was just a Tuesday night basketball game, man. You weren't fighting for, even if this was an actual playoff game, for God's sake, that would have been cool. But it's just a random Tuesday, and it just.
What this would have is like, and Whitlock pointed this out today. It's like if O.J. Simpson has the most rushing yards in a season, right? Running back in history,
right?
2,000 yards, and that was back in the 70s. So,
right.
How many years later, all the great backs, nobody's broken that record because it's so hard. Because it's just hard. But imagine if Jerome Ford or Gus Edwards for the Dolphins or for the Ravens, he was a third string running back, I think. If he would have went out there and rushed for or even hell, even if you took a starting running back in the league, like who's the guy, who's a mediocre starting run or middle of the road?
Jenkins from the Raiders.
Yeah, him or let's see,
or what's his name? Josh Jacobs or I don't
right
know.
there, boom, boom, boom. It's like if Josh Jacobs, yeah, there you go, a good running back, right? Has great
Decent
talent.
team, Packers. Yeah.
You know, it's like if Josh Jacobs went out there and ran for 2,001 yards. People would be like, "Hey, man, like Willock said, did they stop tackling in the NFL? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Why is he running?" Or it's like, I think it's more of like the Jerome Ford. This guy ran for 2,000 yards. They playing flag. Like, what are they not tackling? Like, what's going on?
We're playing two-hand touch.
Right. Like, even then, he wouldn't break the record. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they just all said, "Here you go," and just handing the ball every time and said, just waved to him as he ran right past him and said, "Have fun in the end zone." Right. You know, you're breaking all the, and they put the ball on the 1 yard line every time. He ran for 99 yards twice a game. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just not reality.
Right.
It's just not reality, but this is where we live now. So
I agree, bro.
Well, Humble, I think that was another virtuoso by us. No, that was pretty good.
I think that was real good, man. I appreciate being on.
And I'm sure we'll have people that disagree, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So
everyone's
all
entitled to their opinion, man.
We're not trying to spread hate enough. We're just giving our honest opinion. So you got to respect that. And I respect my man Parent John's opinion, and I love Parent. Parent John's a day one supporter. Shout out to Parent John. Shout out to Teflon Don. He said Browns are pure cheeks. Get ready to that's his thing. They're always pure cheeks. He's not very optimistic about the breach sightings, but shout out to our guy Toon. He said, "Y'all got to stop the Smush Parker hate." Yeah. Oh man. Only Toon would put that there.
I need a highlight reel, Toon, because I'm not familiar, man. That's crazy. That's one for the ages for me. Smush Parker.
Smush Parker.
Didn't know. I didn't know he was a fan, though.
But shout out to all you guys in the chat. And shout out to all you guys watching on the playback. Like, subscribe, and share. Right home. They gotta like, subscribe, and share.
You gotta. You have to, man. And like Joe said, we're not hating on Bam. We just grew up as big Kobe Bean Bryant fans. And that's all, man. That's all. Like, share.
Well, not only for me, not only Kobe fan, I just respect the game.
I know you sure.
But that's my biggest thing. You know what I mean? It's not really like, for me, it's not much, and I love Kobe Bryant, but it's not more about that. It's more of like the way you went about it. Like, I just think it's like disrespect to the sport. You know what I mean? And the people before you, not just Kobe, everybody. All the greats. Just well, go ahead. My bad. I didn't mean to
No. You're good. I do sometimes just go off my energy. So
you're good, man.
I definitely love Kobe Bean Bryant. I remember crying, begging my mom for a pair of Kobe 9s, and she was like, "Are you kidding me? I will not get you some Kobe's." And she was like, "You know how expensive those are? $210. No way in hell I'm getting you those shoes, kid." Man, it took. She said once it was next year, this summertime. She was like, "Hey, I know you want some Kobe's. You do good in the summertime. I mean, you do good in up and coming school year. I'll get you those Kobe's, Kobe 10s actually." And sure enough, I locked in on that school, and she got me some Kobe 10s. They were green and blue, man. I'll never forget those Kobe's.
That man turned into the great math professor then.
right, man.
I'll outread anybody, and I will do a math like anybody. Need them damn Kobe's. I've been there. I get it.
It's those moments though, man. It was like $210 for a pair of Kobe 10s, next year editions. I wanted the 9s, but she got me the 10s, and I could live with that, man. It was just work hard, man. You'll obtain it, man. That's the motto, man, that me and Joe love to spread. And man, it's always love coming on this show, and we care about you guys as much as you guys come on the channel and send those comments, man. We appreciate everyone, and everyone on the playback too.
Absolutely. Like, subscribe, share all that good stuff, and We'll see you guys in the next one. We're out of here.
Peace.
Gone.